part of that was in R5, and that was why we asked to define the lodging, which was the final hinge, was the final permit. So, but yes, there's going to be a balance. There's an economic component that a lot of people feel is important. I feel is important in the community. But the zoning laws are what has preserved what it is about this community that makes people want to come here in the first place. So I totally agree. The spirit of the zoning laws has to be maintained if we're going to maintain the character of the community. But it's going to have to be a balance between the economics of Airbnb, the community. I think economics, the community character, and yes,
safety is very important.
So,
great. A case can be made that property rights of an owner you can do, you know, you can, and this has been debated a lot in different venues, but the property right, the owner has a right to use their property how, you know, so long as they're not violating anything. And again, you know, not to shut the zoning code aside, but I think partly how it's happened and why it happened and the town didn't do anything about it is they saw that people were taking initiative. If you look at the comprehensive plan in 2005, there's an item in there that encourages home-based businesses as part of the future of Shandaken. That's one of the, you know, tenets in that thing. So, and there was a debate whether it's a business or not a business or not. I think these are all things that we want to talk about and discuss. But I think to build on what Mark is saying, the financial input to the businesses in the community, the financial input in creating jobs. I have 4 Airbnbs, and I employ at various times. You know, I have full-time cleaning people. I've got a full-time laundry person. I do contractor work, and all of these people get jobs because I have these Airbnb rentals. I'm grandfathered in because the property that I have has been, you know, had short-term and long-term rentals for, you know, decades. But so all of those things. The other thing is, you know, some of what we did after the conversation started, to give you more background, is when we heard that the town had formed an STR committee, we formed a Shandaken Home Sharing Association, and we've had a lot of meetings and discussions about it. And so I've gotten to know a small group of Airbnb hosts, many of which are new to the city, new to the town. They have some of the kids, sending them to the school, or chronically, there's not many kids going to school. We've been involved in various types of activities to bring culture to the town. And so in terms of character of the town, the Airbnb hosts have really contributed to where the town is going in its future. So, you know, what we're asking is very simple. Minimal regulations to build on and retain safety for our guests, safety for us, deep respect for the culture of the town, for our neighbors. There's, you know, short-term rentals have mutual reviews. So if I get a bad review, you know, from a guest, or if a guest misbehaves and I get a bad review, or vice versa, we police ourselves. But we also we don't want to have our neighbors upset at us because it's critically important. So we're all for having the integrity of our activities in our homes be regulated in such a way that everyone benefits. The town benefits, the people we hire benefit, and we benefit. Because if I can't do Airbnb, I've got Social Security. I basically am going to have to. I wouldn't be able to make ends meet, and I still have a daughter in school.
I've heard,
and many air hosts that I know are in the same situation.
I heard a real estate person, when I looked at, there was a video the other night on, and I think the county legislator was here, and she had said that, well, there's people from Brooklyn that come up and they buy houses, and they want to buy houses, but they can't afford the taxes and the mortgage. So by buying a house and not being able to afford the taxes and the mortgage, means that you want somebody else to pay the taxes and the mortgage on your property and keep it, and realize as the future goes on, the profit you're gonna make in real estate, which is probably more than you could make in the stock market right now. So people are buying these houses, and they have no tie to this town other than it's a great place to go. It's one of the 10 nicest, best little towns in America. So by buying houses here, not even being a resident, and just having your name on the tax rolls and renting it out on a daily basis and stuff, and that's paying for their house, giving them maybe a little profit, putting some money in the bank in case, for, maintenance and things in the house. But in reality, are they part of the community, really part of the community? I mean, they're just really doing this because it's an easy way, if you have the credit and the money to put down on a house, to buy a house, not be here, rent it out on a daily basis, weekends or a month, and realize a profit and have it pay for itself. When I came up here and when I came up here and bought a house, it was a summer home. I bought it from Spalding. And they even did a movie, Terrace of Pleasure Summer House. I bought it, I had to borrow money from American Express. I had to, do what I had to do, put the money down, and then I had to pay for it. And, I struggled, as everybody else did. But now you're telling me that you can just buy a house and rent it out on a daily basis like a hotel. And I think that people get confused when you present it as it's great for the community because the businesses are making money and there's more people here. But it also has an effect on the infrastructure of the area, the impact on the roads. There's more traffic now than up and down Woodland Valley, that's where I live, than I've ever seen. And a lot of them from the city, and they speed up and down the road because in the city everybody's in a hurry. Up here everybody's kind of like laid back, But I live where I live, there's kind of like cluster homes. Grandview, Baker, Ridge Road. I would say 60 to 70% of the homes they're taking over our community. And if you go down by the American Legion in that area, Sopus and West Street, they've done the same thing there. And I mean, where does it stop? So if you regulate it, are you going to regulate to, you can't do it in R5, you can't do it in R3, you can only do it in R1, or you can only do it in R5, and you can't do it in R1. And some of the cluster communities, the properties are only 75 by 100. So there's no room in between the houses. And when you have people coming and going on a daily basis, and the people, a lot of people, they moved here because of the serenity, the quietness, the outdoors, the mountains.
And that's why people come to the Airbnb.
Yes,
Well,
yes, but I think, the Airbnbs are affecting the hotel industry here too, and the bed and breakfast industry, because, these people that own these establishments, they pay taxes, to the county, to the town, they're subject to health inspections.
So do Airbnb.
Well, I heard the county just sent out letters to everybody, they wanted 2%, something like that. But I don't know of anybody paying the town
That's
taxes.
what the bed tax is.
Yeah, but I don't know that the town is collecting any taxes. I mean, the county just did that, I think, as a fishing expedition to send out letters to see who responds to it.
I've been paying it for 4 years, so I
Well,
mean,
a lot of
that's-
people haven't, they send letters and said they want the taxes back to next last
Airbnb
September.
properties generally paying sales tax as well?
Currently, there's no state legislation that's requiring Airbnb short-term rentals to pay sales tax. Bed and breakfasts do, as you know, because historically that business model was from before. I just want to make one comment on what you were saying, Hank. There's a finite amount of housing in Shandaken. So it's not like you're in an urban area where lots of housing is available and big developers are coming in and buying up property. That's really not happening. There's a finite number of housing. People want to sell their homes, and I know a lot of short-term rental people, short-term part-time residents who live here, who spend every weekend they can coming up here. They pay taxes here, they're involved in the town, they're really, good people, they do care about Shandaken. there probably are a few, and we've had this discussion maybe 5, 10, just, just off the top of my head, of people who maybe only rent and never come up here but once in a blue moon. The majority of people that own, and we're trying to Howie's point, we're trying to get a better handle on the data. And one of the things we could do in our regulation, and once that's codified and people sign up, we'll know a little bit more about the Airbnb community and how it's broken up. But the point being, with that finite amount of housing, it's not like all of a sudden everything's gonna go to Airbnb or anything like that. The other thing is, if you think about it yourself, say you bought a property up here, and would you not want to have a way to be able to afford to pay it?
I wouldn't mind it, I couldn't afford to pay it.
But we want people to come in, rather than have a property sit there with nobody in it, we'd rather have it be occupied. The town benefits, everybody benefits from having properties owned and used. And this platform for short-term rentals is a way of utilizing these properties and putting them to work for the town. And they contribute. They contribute to the town, they contribute to the events, they contribute, they donate, to everybody. And so I don't, it's not a complete, I understand what you're saying, you're making a valid point, and I think it's a good discussion that we're having, but I just want you to consider the other side of it. And consider yourself as you as an individual, maybe you don't do Airbnb now, or short-term rentals. Maybe next year, you're gonna have a health event, and you can say, you know what, I'm gonna have to move to Kingston for a while, and boy, I'm really in a bind health-wise. I wanna consider doing a short-term rental. And they say, oh, you can't do it, sorry. The committee said you can't do it. Now, all of a sudden, you wanna deny residents in this town, because of an outdated zoning law, the opportunity to do an Airbnb, because they really financially benefit. We know that this economy sounds great, low unemployment and stuff, but all of us are eking by. And this is a way.
The economy's great, there's all kinds of jobs, I have 3 of them.
Just to touch on one point that you made, over, I hear what you're saying, but from the last committee, we did have a couple of these emails. This one in particular is just an example of the Boulder Run Investments from Colorado, inquiring about the regulations because they want to buy, quote, numerous properties. So to say that there's no LLCs and large corporations, companies that want to buy properties in the town of Shandaken, I think is a little bit ignorant. I'm not saying there's a lot.
I didn't say that.
No, I know, but you mentioned that.
Yep.
It's mostly, and I agree, it is mostly responsible second homeowners who are spending their weekends here. But just keep in mind.
But
there's also-
frankly, I think most of the people, at least on the Shandaken Home Sharing Association, we are as opposed to people coming in and buying up
Yeah.
property, because we
Yeah.
think that negatively impacts the community flavor that we have here. We're opposed to that. I don't want
Yeah,
this.
but you're a person that didn't come in and buy properties for that specific reason. But
Right.
there's a group of people that are coming into the community and buying properties just for that specific reason.
We don't know how many of those there are. I wish we did know.
There's real estate agencies that are just buying properties and not even reselling them, they're just Airbnb them.
So that's a
I
valid
don't know
statement.
anything about that. I
I
don't know about that.
Well, we should find out.
Right.
We can certainly discuss with real estate agencies here in the city, here in town, and that do that, but, and I'd like to know that too. And there's something maybe we can talk about in our regulation proposal that might address that sort of an issue.
And I only bring this email up because I think that's a good jumping off point. Instead of talking about regulating full-time residents, maybe we start by regulating that kind of stuff.
Well, I think I want to
I think
go.
that's something everybody can get behind.
Yeah,
It seems that everybody can get
It's a
behind.
good, solid jumping off.
Yeah, and that gets to the uniqueness of every community and the uniqueness of our community. Woodstock, I agree with James that at least the people that are engaged in the community, people come talk to us, are responsible Airbnb people who, look for needs for some sort of permit and so on. Not so places like Woodstock, where there has been active investment, and people in Woodstock are crying the blues about how the community has drastically changed. So that's the balance that we have to strike. Are you saying that you've noticed in your community a definite character change?
Completely.
Completely? And are these corporate buyers?
No,
Or-
individuals that come up, buy homes, rent them out on a daily
Yeah.
basis, weekends.
Yeah.
For a week, 2 weeks, whatever they can rent them.
Okay.
But they get the daily rate.
Let me ask you, how often is your facility inspected?
Seasonal, so only once.
Once a year?
I think full-time facilities are inspected quarterly.
Who inspects them, Bobby?
Most are, well,
Fire safety,
Yeah.
all places of assembly.
but the Ulster County Health Department inspects
They do as well.
seasonal, annually, and full-time quarterly. But I need to submit quarterly water samples, which I have to pay for.
County?
We have 5 different buildings, so each one of them needs a separate water report.
Quarterly.
Okay.
Quarterly.
I think it would be good if Mark had suggested that we go through the survey, because I think it would be beneficial to see what the results of the survey was and by doing that, we kind of achieve 2 things. One is we figure out what the town said, the people that filled out the survey, and 2, we can systematically review all the issues, related to this topic. And so we all can kind of exercise our knowledge about it. And then from there, we'd be in a position to say, okay, well, where do we shake out at and move towards something. So
Do you think that this is a broad view of the whole town and what they think?
I think there are a lot of problems. My personal view is, I was in advertising for 20 years. This is, if you gave this to a professional survey person, they would say it's biased, it's not the best written. 354 people responded, a lot of people didn't, therefore. But the people that are engaged and involved filled it out. So it's a place to start.
And it is on par with other surveys that take, that's about 10%.
Yeah.
But did like your organization or your
Shandaken Home Sharing
Shandaken
Association.
Home Sharing, did you guys email everybody that you know to fill this survey out online?
We talked to our fellow hosts, that were
So you
residents
wanted
there.
everybody, so,
But we don't have a list, we can't contact, we don't know, as Howie said, we don't know who they are. We know with the number of, in the Shandaken Home Sharing Association really is about a dozen people who are all members of the community, who have families and who live here, who are interested, and it's very, very important for us to have simple regulation that retains community character, that enables us to, continue to live here economically, and we feel that we positively benefit the community.
I agree that you benefit the community. I mean, as far as the economic part of it, with the restaurants and shops and things like that. I mean, I totally agree with you. But, you guys pay the same taxes that a person that owns a home that doesn't rent it out pays. I mean, other than if you pay sales tax, or whatever you pay, to the county or the state. But, I just think that a survey like this is great, but I know that you guys emailed everybody that you know to fill this out, because I saw.
Maybe
Yeah.
not, there were 10 or
Let me just-
15 people.
Yeah.
Let me just, yesterday I saw an email that was sent to everybody that they know that rents, on the short-term rental group in the town of Shandaken, and it was an email sent out, which I didn't even get an email. I didn't even get an email from the town saying what time this meeting was. But the
What time this
short-term
meeting
rental
was?
people all got emails to say to come to this meeting tonight.
I mean,
But it was all short-term.
Can't fault
I
them
mean,
for being.
yeah,
No, no,
that's
no.
just activation.
No, but the point I'm trying to make is that you have the ability to reach out, to have people fill out this survey.
I think we all did our best.
Try to get people. to do it.
Look,
yeah.
Look, we talk about the watershed survey that went out, 2 years ago, we got like 30 answers, it's,
No, this is a more robust response.
Yeah, we were very, I mean, at least from the town board perspective, I know I was happy with Brandon knowing the way people answer surveys in this town. It's not great, no offense, guys. You can do better. To get 10% was, I thought, a pretty decent response. Could it have been better? Absolutely. If you didn't respond, did you care? I don't know.
Well, I think people in this town care. I think a lot of people don't have the time to sit around and fill out surveys, and they don't really think it's important. You know, the people that live here, I would say half of them are probably 50 and over.
Yeah.
The other, you know, the other half are like 20 to 35 or 40.
Well, I think.
But I was driving-
Look at
I
the
was-
survey
but-
though, you're
no,
going to
no,
see
but-
that it's not like everybody on this survey is, yes, short-term rentals, go, go, go. I mean, it's pretty 50-50,
Yeah.
and there's people on both sides making points. So I don't think that you can just say, oh, discredit it because it's only.
I'm not saying
short-term
discredit
people.
it. I didn't
There's
use
also
the word.
23, there's, I have
The point I'm trying to make
23
is that
pages
people
of
in
comments.
town don't really get involved in this until it really affects them. Like the comprehensive planning committee, when they wanted to change all the comprehensive planning and zoning in this town, what color your driveway could be, what color to paint your house, how many trees you could take on a property. Well, they had all of their meetings and they didn't fill up the town hall. But when it came to that, they were gonna make a decision that affected everybody, that you couldn't, people were standing outside the town hall. They had to stop the meeting here and not even start it and have, schedule a new meeting at Bel Air where it was large enough to accommodate the amount of people that come. So people in this town do come. And,
So when
you
the
know,
town hall-
those old laid-back people and those old boys, when you start
So
doing
when
something
we have
that's
the town hall
affecting.
meetings, when we come up with our draft proposal, and the town department sign off on it, and we have the town hall meetings, we encourage everybody to come.
It's gonna be a process.
Yeah, it's a process, and this is the first evening of the process.
You know, if they all show up at the end, that's what happens. That's fine. And for what it's worth, I was driving hard copies around to elderly people, so there's a decent elderly response.
I think we all in the committee reached out to, I reached out to folks living in Chichester who were not happy about Airbnb, make sure that they knew about, everybody needed to, everybody had an opportunity to participate. And, yeah, folks, we're not gonna participate until it starts getting real. I love the idea though, really, we might wanna think about just facilitating a conversation at our next meeting where we come back with an assignment. We really have read this thing and we talk about what we've read, because I'm an architect. I don't do what you do, but I do enough of what we call programming, try to understand what people want to do in terms of a development. And there's never any bit of data gathering that can't be attacked if you want to. You can tear anything apart. It can always be done. But I think that we should start with what we've heard so far, because these are the voice of the people that we live next to. We should at least read it as a group, really make sure we understand it, and then have a conversation.
And I would say that 354 people out of as a percent of the population of the town, statistically, it's pretty representative, and you can really pull a lot of information. So that's why I suggested when Mark and I had a conversation yesterday is we should really go through this. So I think as an assignment for all, I would recommend that we all go through and read the comments for each question and survey and find out where it shakes out. So next week,
So this is online somewhere?
yes, it's on the town website. You can print out the survey, and then right next to it, there's another link rolled over that says comments.
And there's a ton of comments.
Yeah.
So we'll
There's,
have to-
If you just want a little preview, have some,
Bedtime reading.
you'll have 20 pages of comments.
And
You'll get a,
they-
you'll get
they
an
range
idea.
from
Comments are other than the responses to the survey?
Well, there's
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
there's the response where you can answer not important, mildly important, important, very important, most important, or you also have the option of additional
Open and
comments.
vote.
Open, yeah.
Yeah, do the vote.
Yeah.
So you can publish the comments with the statistics.
So you can see the statistics and then you can make the comments.
So it's interesting, James feels the survey is biased against the short-term rental people, and Hank feels the response is biased toward them.
But you haven't read the survey, have you? Did you read the survey? The survey
I
results?
didn't read it, but I mean,
Yeah. But you were concerned that it doesn't reflect the town.
no, I'm not concerned that it didn't reflect the town. What I was concerned about is that as a short-term rental group, and as an organization, that you reached out to everybody in your organization to fill out this survey and go online and fill it out or do a hard copy or whatever and get it to the town.
But like I said,
Thereby biasing the
the
results.
Shandaken Home Sharing Association is roughly about 10 people, and we don't know any much people beyond that are, because we don't know who the other 100 people are.
And
So-
Airbnb doesn't share that
And
information.
yeah, the
So,
privacy prevents.
And Airbnb had nothing to do with the results of the survey.
Right.
Didn't go to Airbnb, it went to our neighbors,
Yeah.
people in this town.
Well, Franklin Delano Roosevelt said there's statistics, there's damn statistics, and there's lies. Which one that, yeah? But surveys, huh?
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain.
Who knows?
But anyway, the survey is the primary tool we have, and we did work hard to make it
Yeah.
unbiased, and it's not perfect, but I think it's a starting point. It's a jump off
It's
point.
a starting point.
Is that something we want to do tonight? We want to quickly go over the results?
I think we could start, and then continue next week. You want to do that?
No, that's your time.
I don't have one in front of me, but I'll be happy to be first.
What time is it now?
it is 10 till 8.
How long should, well, I have a preparatory question. How long do we want these meetings to be? Because we don't want to do 5 meetings.
Sure, it's possible.
It started at what,
It's the best
5,
way to
and it goes
proceed
8 now?
It's the best way to proceed to put this off until next meeting, so we all have time to review it.
I think
I think that's the best. I think we all take it home and read it and write down our comments.
And are we, we're not meeting weekly though, are we?
No.
We're meeting monthly, right?
Right.
This is a little off because the second Mondays didn't work in September
And it'll be also off
in October.
in October because of the
Columbus